Pizza Castle, a spot that I loved as a kid, but I now will fear for the rest of my life. It shut down a few years ago, and I hope that it never reopens. Pizza Castle was, as you may have guessed, a pizza parlor made to look like a castle. It was located in Dothan, Alabama. Dothan was only about 30 minutes away from my hometown, so I went there a lot as a kid. Around 2010, the store unfortunately closed down. The company said it was shut down due to health concerns, but I don't believe that. Back in 1982, the building started off as a ShowBiz pizza. It stayed that way until 1992, when it was converted into a Chuck E. Cheese. The Chuck E. Cheese was doing well, but one day in 1998, the owners decided to move the restaurant to a smaller building in a strip mall. There was no official answer as to why they did this, but I know why. In 1997, 3 teenagers broke into the location for reasons unknown to the police. In fact, not much was known about them, except that they never came out. An employee found them stuffed behind some boxes in an old storage closet. They were ripped to shreds, with bite marks all across their bodies. Bite marks that matched the teeth of a bear. Obviously, the police ruled out the possibility that a bear was in a fully operational Chuck E. Cheese. But there was no better explanation as to who or what killed these kids, so the case went cold. After this, tons of strange things started happening in the restaurant. Kids would go into the ball pit and come out covered in a strange substance. Employees would randomly pass out in the Chucky costume. Phones would ring with no one on the other line, and the lights would flicker on and off randomly. Eventually, the store had to move out of that location because of this. Fast forward to 2017. Me and a couple of my friends, Marvin and Emily, wanted to go urban exploring. We had explored a few locations before, but we really didn't have too much experience. Eventually, we decided on an old abandoned mall, around 2 hours away. On the way up, we started driving toward Dothan and saw the old Pizza Castle building. Emily saw it and her face lit up.
"We should go check out the old pizza place. I heard it's haunted by those 3 kids,"
she said. We all agreed and pulled around to the back of the building so our car wouldn't be seen. We got out and broke a lock on the door to get in. The place seemed much bigger on the inside than the outside, and the smell of rotting pizzas filled the air. Just then, an injured raccoon ran out of the building. Being completely honest, it scared the crap out of all of us.
"That was a great first impression of the place,"
Marvin said sarcastically.
"Yeah, that kind of made me jump,"
replied Emily.
"Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go in. Ladies first,"
I said as I gestured Marvin in. We all laughed and went inside. As soon as we stepped in, we smelled what could only be described as like something had died in the place. Which I guess something did, but that was years ago. We didn't mind it though. We just assumed some animal broke in and couldn't find its way out. I found some old shirts and plushies, which I thought would sell for tons of money on eBay. We all had fun in the place. We tried and failed to get the power on, and got some leftover quarters from the old broken arcade machines the company left behind. We were having a good time until Emily decided to enter the play tubes. She went down a slide in the tubes, but didn't come out the other side. 1 minute passed, then 2, then 5, then 10. Originally, we thought she was messing with us, but we were getting kind of worried now. Marvin went in after her, but didn't come out either. Then I went up. The tubes were surprisingly clean. No dust, no dirt, nothing. Eventually, I got to the slide that Marvin and Emily went down. I called out for them, but got no answer, so I slid down. What happened next was one of the coolest yet scariest experiences of my life, and I will never forget. I came out the bottom, back into the Chuck E. Cheese, but it was different. The lights were on. All the arcade games were back in their right spots, and all the animatronics were still there. As confused as I was, I started looking around and found Marvin and Emily in an employee break room. Emily was crying, and Marvin just stared blankly at some paper while sitting on a couch. Marvin saw me walk in and, without saying a word, handed me the paper. It was a calendar. Across the top of the page, it read, November 1997. I was honestly just shocked. Not scared or confused, just shocked. Before I could say anything, we heard glass break out in the showroom. We all walked out of the break room and saw 3 teenagers hopping through a broken window. We all ran out to talk to them, but it was like they didn't see us. We tried screaming at them, grabbing at their arms, but nothing worked. Eventually, after 30 minutes of trying, we saw one of them go in a storage closet. He called the others over and said,
Guys, look at this. It's that bear thing from ShowBiz. Cool, I loved that place as a kid,
said another teenager. They talked about it for a while, but eventually went quiet. We went up to the old storage closet and looked in, and nothing was there. No kids, no animatronic, nothing. Emily, Marvin, and I had enough of this place, and we started walking to the exit. But when we got to the showroom, something was different. Everything was back to as it was. Arcade machines were knocked down and lights were off. Only one thing was different. Up on stage, we saw a Billy Bob animatronic. It looked old and worn out. The robot shouldn't have worked, but it did. The robot opened its mouth slowly, and only one word came out. Life. Just then, the lights started flashing like crazy. Doors started slamming, and we started hearing music from an out-of-tune banjo. We all started running out, but the hallways seemed longer than they should be, and everything was in the wrong place. The longer we stayed, the louder the music played, and the faster the lights flashed. It eventually got to the point where it looked like objects were glitching. We then found an exit and burst through it, but we soon realized that Marvin wasn't with us. Emily was freaked out and wanted to go back in to get him, but I stopped her. We waited outside for hours to see if he would come out, but he never did. Emily tried to run back in again, but I pulled her back into the car. I had already lost one friend. I wasn't losing another. The drive home was quiet. Neither of us would say a word. After a few days, Marvin was reported missing. We told the police we last saw him at the old pizza castle. We didn't tell them exactly what happened, though, because they would never believe us. That's why we decided to go back. We had to see for ourselves what really happened to him. Once we went in, we decided to trace our steps until we found him, going through the tubes and everything. Only problem is, this time, we could never find our way out. It's like we always try to exit from the building, but just enter from a door on the other side. In fact, we're still here inside the pizza castle, still looking for our friend. And those 3 kids who went missing back in the day, I'm starting to think that somehow they were us. I'm recording this on an old tape recorder I found lying around on the floor. Luckily, it had batteries inside. I hope that somehow someone will be able to listen to the tape if I try and throw it outside. Otherwise, I'm afraid no one will ever know what happened to us, or why people should always stay away from Pizza Castle.